Hello, welcome back to TGP1. We are back here for round 3 and 4 of season 43. I'm your commentator tonight, CJH, who I am usually the co-commentator on these streams, but it's a bit of a Martin Brundle from 2011 F1, if anyone can remember that far back, where the co-commentator is suddenly now the main commentator. I am joined by Ewan, my trusty co-com from many other leagues in the commentary box tonight. For round 3 and 4, like I said, here in Zandvoort and later on at the British Grand Prix. And Ewan, I tell you, we've got some races in store tonight. And already we've had a very close qualifying session here in Zandvoort, and it sets us up quite nicely for the race ahead.
Yeah, of course, it should be great. Lots of different drivers for me to commentate on, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, Court takes pole position here in Zandvoort as the rain starts here, and it ends the qualifying session. So Court Jill getting that lap in early and taking pole. So let's see what it can do from the front.
Yeah, apologies to the viewers. We were a little bit late there getting the stream up in the end. Some technical difficulties, but we are here now, and it is indeed Court who takes pole on home soil here at Zandvoort for Mercedes, ahead of Alistair Bain, who joins them on the front row. We've got Wet Lemons in third and Jovel Manatee in fourth place, with Machine Island completing the top 5. Casper, the reigning champion, is down in 6th place, and there is the rest of the order on your screen in front of you. And as we saw there, we had a bit of a rain at the end of the session. It does cut things short a little bit, but I'm not too sure what the kind of weather we're expecting for the main race, but surely I would imagine it's going to be the kind of race that the drivers, no matter the conditions, are going to struggle at this kind of circuit. It's quite a challenge here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, of course, dynamic weather always poses a challenge, and a track like Zandvoort, there's always going to be challenges, grass and gravel all over the track, but it does look very sunny in Zandvoort for the race. So good for the drivers, but it's still a tough track to overcome, and 18 laps to race, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. It's quite a difficult track to overtake, but there is still definitely chances down to turn 1.
Well, you're right there, Ewan. The start could be critical here. It's dry conditions here for the TGP Dutch Grand Prix, and let's find out then what is going to unfold in this one. It's a fairly short race, so the moves will be critical at the start of this one, and let's find out then. It's a fairly simple one-stop strategy for the drivers, and can Court execute a home victory here? We're about to see, as it's a very long wait. It always feels as the drivers are just waiting for the lights. And here they come then. We've got 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And we are underway here in Zandvoort. Court then gets a pretty good start, but in that second phase has a little bit of wheel spin there. Now Alistair Bain might just have a little look up the inside, and yes, he does. He sends it up the inside of Court there, trying to take the lead. Court, though, will have the outside line. Now the inside line for the next corner, and will maintain the lead there. Ahead of Alistair Bain, ahead of Wet Lemons, and Jovel Manatee up into 4th. Machine Island wheel to wheel with Casper there, who's having a great old start. He's actually challenging Jovel Manatee now, trying to go around the outside before this next corner. Can he hang it on? Just about. Yes, he does. Great work from the Ferrari man, although he loses 2 positions in the end. Getting a little bit caught out there, Ewan, on the outside.
Yeah, a thrilling start here in Zandvoort. They know that you need to make the moves early here at this difficult track to overtake, so it's all go here in Zandvoort, and it's a good start for Court. Alistair went for it down the inside, but Court is able to hold on.
So Court then does hang on at the moment, but Wet Lemons, interestingly, on the soft tyres for the start of this one. So he will have to go on the mediums in the final stint, when these guys will have the soft tyres for later on. So he'll have to make the most of that at the start. But already we're at the end of the first lap here. It's a very short lap here in Zandvoort, and it is Wet Lemons then trying to put the pressure on Alistair Bain, then down the start finish straight, has an almighty run at the RB and will send it down the inside. Can he get the right line here, get a good exit and take P2? Yes, he does, ahead of Alistair Bain then, with his teammate now right on his tail as well. So Wet Lemons making the most of those soft tyres there, Ewan.
Yep, a great overtake from him, and he absolutely needed to make that move. On those soft compound tyres, those tyres don't last for long, so he needs to make those moves. There's a few changes at the back, but yeah, in the context for the race win, Wet Lemons is looking pretty good on those soft compound tyres.
Absolutely. Wet Lemons really putting the pressure on Court now at the front, but there was a good move there from the Williams of John for P7 ahead of Bavesia, who's also on the soft tyres. He's got Lewis Craig right on his tail as well, so some drivers really mixing up the strategy here. Here is Machine Island, though, in the slipstream with the DRS, so too does Giovanni there, so it's going to be quite tricky at this stage of the race, Ewan, because a lot of these drivers all have DRS on each other.
Yep, and of course Machine Island leading the championship, so he's looking to get back up the field and get back to where he has been for the first two races, up in the field and up on the podium. But yeah, P5 for him at the moment. He's going to look to try get up the field there, but let's see what Wet Lemons can do against Court Gill on those soft carbon tyres. It looks like he's having a few little mistakes, minor mistakes, 7 tenths back. He really needs to make the most out of those tyres. If not, Court Gill is going to have the best tyres and is going to run away.
Well, I think this is the thing, Ewan. Wet Lemons may have had a good launch there, but he is probably starting to pay the price already of those soft tyres, starting to overheat a little bit in these hot conditions here in Holland, and he's not lost the DRS yet to Court, but Court will be trying as hard as he can to break that DRS, even at a short track like this. It is so powerful with the limited overtaking opportunities that there are, and I wonder if they'll be on the phone at RB soon to make a bit of a swap of the drivers, because Giovanni will surely be starting to get a bit impatient behind his teammate. But at the minute, you and they are all, literally the entire field, are still nose to tail here.
Yep, a very compact grid, which is lovely to see, so anything can happen. Everyone's still in this DRS train, as we see weaving down the straight, and here comes Wet Lemons down the inside.
Well, there he goes, has a little look, can't quite get alongside Court, and I tell you who has got past, that is Machine Island, having a go at Giovanni now, and has a good exit, and gets the job done, up into P4 then, for Machine Island, your current championship leader in the Red Bull, who won last time out in Qatar, and he is now up into P4 and will start to try and put the pressure on Alistair Bain next up. But it is Wet Lemons who has recovered his pace a little bit here, Ewan. He's now coming back at Court, maybe recharging the battery or something there, maybe for that last lap, but he's managed to recompose himself here.
Yeah, I think he caught Gill unawares down into turn 1, and it was a good attempt, but not just yet. Court won't let that position go too easily, so he's looking good, but Wet Lemons just needs to keep composed and try and nurse those tyres as long as he can.
That was Alpha moving up into P9, or it may have been Bavesia actually getting ahead of his team. I'm not quite too sure what happened there in the midfield, but we are going to keep all eyes to the front because Court still leads the way here. But Wet Lemons is going to be right on his tail. We've also got Machine Island right on the tail, and Alistair Bain behind. But here is Wet Lemons, and he's going to go to the outside of Court into the first corner. Can he hang it around the outside and get the job done on the Mercedes? No, he can't. Great exit there once more from Court to just hang on to the lead for the minute, and I think this is all he needs to do as Machine Island gets all sorts of out of shape there through that banked corner and just about manages to keep hold of the car, but critically he's right on the cusp of losing that DRS to the car in front.
Yeah, exactly, and Court is doing a great job at defending his race lead. He's not letting it go easily, and Wet Lemons is really having to dig deep to try and find a way to overtake Court Gill and the Mercedes. So he's doing exceptionally well against the tyres, but should really be a lot quicker at this stage. But yeah, Court Gill defending well into turn 1.
Well, this is the thing. At the minute, he just needs to hang on those mediums. He will have the soft tyres, like I've said already, later on in this one. We've got to move towards the back. I can see on the radar, I think there's Matt Tibos and Aiden going wheel to wheel. But again, we keep an eye on this one because Wet Lemons once more has the DRS on Court then as we are about to start lap 6 here. He's gaining and gaining on the Mercedes. Can he have a little look down the inside? Not quite. He's not close enough this time around, although Casper is on Alistair Bain, has the inside line and will now have to try around the outside, and he has got it done on the RB, although Alistair's trying to hang it on. They make a bit of contact there, but Casper moves up into P4, and I think we are starting to see the very best of the field starting to rise to the top here, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. Casper, a good move and a P4 for him, which is a good effort from him, and Court Gill 7 tenths to Wet Lemons at the front. I think maybe Wet Lemons soft tyres have seen his day, as Jean and Arthur are squabbling. Arthur's trying to go down the inside and almost hitting Jean down the inside into turn 9. So yeah, let's see what Vesio can do. He's going to look to try and make the move.
Well, I tell you, I think they did make contact there, and Arthur was a little bit lucky not to be pirouetting around there with that kind of contact in the nature of that corner, and Bavesio will be eager to try and find a way past on those soft tyres, but we go back to the front once more, and actually Court has got a little bit of a gap here, and here is Machine Island trying to gain on Wet Lemons here before the first corner. There is a move, though, between the two RBs. There is Joe Manatee now up into P5. Now Alistair Bain starting to just slip down the order a little bit here, and there's definitely a bit of a gap now between the 5th place of Joe Manatee up into Casper. There's finally a break in this order, Ewan. I mean, for the first 6 or 7 laps or so, there was absolutely nothing between the pair of them.
Yeah, exactly. Loads of squabbling around with this pack, around the Zandvoort, where if you're going to squabble, you're going to lose a lot of time. So no surprise that there's a bit of a stop in that train. But yeah, still the top 4 all connected and all in the shout for the race win, and it's still Court Gill leading this train, and a big shout to Machine Island, who's made his way back up the pack and back up on the podium. He's the championship leader at the moment, and he's looking to stake that claim.
Well, this is the thing, you can't take your eyes off this at the minute, because you're just waiting for the moment when an overtake is going to happen. They're all lining it up for this start-finish straight once again, and Machine Island is right on the tail of Wet Lemons, who is also absolutely going for it here on Court. He takes the lead then of the Dutch GP. Court has a little look down the inside, trying to keep this one alive, but it might just be over. He is still trying to hang on and will now have the inside line, and does just about almost keep this alive. He'll absolutely send it around the outside there. Should get the better exit this time around. They are still wheel to wheel here in the middle sector, and there is more contact down this straight here, and incredibly Court has somehow managed to keep hold of the lead there. I thought it was done and dusted, Ewan, but look at that, there is Machine Island now trying to take the opportunity as well. But these 4, there is absolutely nothing in this one.
Yep, what a scrap for the race lead. That was Wet Lemon's best attempt, as Machine Island tries to go round the outside at turn 10. Does not work for him, but yeah, Wet Lemons goes from attack to defence as Machine Island. Will he go for the move? No, I don't think so, he won't. But yeah, Wet Lemons, a DRS train, a zone coming up once again. So here comes an attack once again, it seems, because Wet Lemons really wants that track position, but he's really struggling. Court is pulling up a stern defence.
Well, this is the question here. How long can Court hang on? He goes into the pit lane, actually. Never mind going to the pit wall to cover off Wet Lemons. And Court gets a 10-second time penalty from speeding in the pit lane. The pressure maybe getting to the Dutchman a little bit there, and feeling the heat from the Williams right behind him, and it's forced him into getting a penalty. Magic Poop Canning also gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So multiple penalties already. I think Lewis Craig is part of that gang as well, but now it is just the 3 out front, and I'm surprised to see Court already in the pits. Ewan, I don't know if maybe he's worked those tyres a bit too much, but I thought Wet Lemons would be in the pits before him, but maybe an undercut could be another opportunity here.
Yeah, exactly. Undercut is very powerful around a track like this at Zandvoort, and with the pit stops for the train is going to be heavily divided now, and there'll be less things happening as Machine Island is looking very close to Wet Lemons. But yeah, Court Gill going for the undercut. Unluckily with that 10-second penalty, it's not going to look good for him. His stern defence is not going to really matter with that penalty now. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but here comes Machine Island.
Well, he smells an opportunity, and I tell you, they're racing in the pit lane here. Look at this. Machine Island gets a time penalty for getting past, and he's got a 10-second penalty just for good measure coming in the pit lane there. And Machine Island then, his eagerness to get ahead of Wet Lemons may have just cost him any kind of result here, because he's just got hit with a double whammy of penalties there, as we've had an almighty shunt into the first corner. That is Aidan Griffins and Matt Tibos into the wall. There you can see the McLaren just rejoining in the background there, and what on earth happened there, I'm not quite sure. But those two then in the wars, you'd have to say, as Alistair Bain now is our new race leader. But Court, in amongst all of that chaos, Ewan, has actually gained track position over that lot after all of that pit lane nonsense there, you'd have to say. I mean, what on earth happened with Machine Island?
Yeah, I think he went side by side, tried to get the track position into the pit lane, but it just seemed to not work out for him. I think he exceeded track limits going into the pit lane and then couldn't get it stopped for the pit line, which is a very slow pit line here in Zandvoort, only 37 miles per hour. So to get it stopped here, it's tough. And obviously too tough for Court and Machine Island who have got the 10 seconds. So yeah, this is an interesting dynamic with Wet Lemons on those mediums. He needs to make the most of those.
So yeah, I think that's the thing. Aiden gets so close to Chris Johnson there, coming in the pit lane. There is a move though in the background. That's Casper now getting ahead of Wet Lemons. Wet Lemons paying the price of being on those medium tyres now. And there's another move in the background. That's Lewis Craig and the Haas of Arthur going at it into the first corner, and Lewis Craig just about keeps hold of the car out of the first corner there. But there are battles left, right and centre here as we near the end of this race already. We're way past the halfway point, and obviously Court and Machine Island then with loads of penalties. Machine Island with 16 seconds of penalties, so you can almost rule the pair of them out of this one. And if I'm correct in saying, I believe Casper is now going to be our net leader after all these penalties.
Yeah, he's looking very good at the moment, and Court Jill and Machine Island behind Aidan Griffins. So this is terrible traffic for the pair of them, as Court Jill is going to try to go round the outside into sector 3. Can he make the move? No, he gets pushed onto the grass, and Machine Island puts it round the outside and makes the move on Court Jill. So Machine Island net race lead with the 16-second penalties, but that's pretty good. McLaren of Aidan is really backing the pack up here.
We've just lost the Williams of John in the background there. He's hit the barrier as Aiden goes in the pit lane and gets a penalty as well. And there goes Court then back up the inside of Machine Island. He was a bit ambitious trying to make the move on the McLaren before, but they are still wheel to wheel here. And Court trying to hang it on. They make a bit of contact there. But these two with so many penalties aren't really fighting for the lead here, Ewan. It's more Casper right behind, and Wet Lemons, they're going to just need to sit back and just watch this unfold, because they need to almost keep their cars intact because they haven't got the penalties here.
Yeah, exactly, and this has benefited Wet Lemons. He's been able to get back in that DRS of the leaders, and he's got those mediums which are probably the better race tyre, so those tyres won't degrade as much as the softs, and by the end of the race he will be looking to make some moves and get back up to the front of the field, and he only needs to overtake Casper with Court and Machine both with penalties. So it's looking pretty good for Wet Lemons and the Williams.
Well, it's going to be an intriguing end to this race, because Machine Island and Court aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So it's going to be a question really of how Casper and Wet Lemons play it behind, because here comes Court then once again with the DRS and will take the lead at the minute of this race. But obviously, like I say, with the penalties that these two have got, this isn't really the fight for the win here. But we'll just see how Casper and Wet Lemons play this one here. Will they risk it and get involved with a scrap with the cars ahead of them, despite them having the penalties and really ruling themselves out of even podium contention here, you'd have to say, Ewan, because they're going to drop maybe potentially even out of the top 10.
Yeah, exactly. Combined with the short amount of laps and how close this pack is, it's no surprise that they might end up out of the points, which is a huge shock for these two incredibly talented drivers. But just a few mistakes from the pair of them have seen them pay the consequences, and it's going to be bad consequences. They're going to be very much down the field by the end of this race with those 10-second penalties. And also, I'm surprised there hasn't been a safety car yet, because there's two DNFs in the wall. But yeah, looks like Machine Island's going for the lead, and it's going to be a DRS.
There he goes.
overtake.
Yeah, it's an easy pass from the championship leader as Arthur now moves up into P5 ahead of Joe O'Malley. What a result Arthur could be on for here. If he continues that pace, he might even be thinking of a potential podium at this rate, which is incredible to say. So Arthur now up into P5. I think Alistair also made the move there on Lewis Craig. I think the reason why we didn't have a safety car actually, Ewan, is because I believe they don't actually have safety cars enabled here in TGP, which is good for us because it means we've just got unlimited racing from lights to flag, and that is what we're going to have in these remaining laps here. And let us know on the stream what you've made of the race so far, any predictions or thoughts. Fire away on the chat, and we'll try to read them out as we go along, as Lewis Craig gets back ahead of Alistair Bain for P7. But obviously a couple of these guys with penalties, so they will tumble down the order. And as it stands, our podium is going to be Casper, Wet Lemons and Arthur. And I tell you, before this race started, I did not predict that one.
Yeah, that's quite an intriguing podium. Runners, Court is going to go down the inside here into turn 1 for the race lead. They're going to stick it side by side as Casper looks to get involved, but Machine is able to stay in front in P2. The 2 penalty guys are in the front 2 positions, which is the best they can do with those penalties. But yeah, a brilliant podium without 4, and yeah, it's just about staying out of trouble in these races, I feel like. So yeah, Arthur is doing very well in P5, which might be a podium if he can keep it clean, and we've got a race win to settle between Casper and Wet Lemons. So yeah, intriguing and looking forward to it.
Well, you wonder if the question is now, is maybe those top 2 are kind of being the cork in the bottle at the moment with those obvious penalties that they have. It's allowing Wet Lemons to just stay in the contention here of race victory, because maybe he thought going on those medium tyres for the final stint, his chance may have escaped him. But with only about 3 laps to go here, Wet Lemons is really in the mix, I'd have to say. It's going to be a straight fight between him and Casper here, and because Casper's stuck where he is at the moment, as Machine Island does get ahead of Court into the first corner, they make a little bit of contact as well. Casper, has a big old moment through the first corner there, and almost loses that 3rd place, which is a net win here to Wet Lemons. I would not rule out the Williams at all here, Ewan.
Yeah, that is absolutely the battle that we need to be watching. Casper versus Wet Lemons. Wet Lemons, obviously, his tyres will just get better and better over the course of these last few laps. So he's got a very good chance of winning this race. He needs to just keep his bottle, keep his calm, and he could have a very good chance of winning. But yeah, Machine and Court just fighting it out. They've got nothing to lose now. They just need to make as much time to the chasing pack to see how they can limit the damage in this race. Obviously, they've been track position wise, they've been very good, but race wise with the penalty, it's not going to look very good for them. So they're just going to try and get as far away from the chasing pack.
Well, Wet Lemons there had a little slide out of the what would you call that? Probably the penultimate corner or whatever it is at this Zandvoort circuit. He had just a little slide there, which cost him a couple of attempts, maybe another opportunity down the start-finish straight, but he's going to have about 2 more chances here to try and make a lunge on Casper to win this race, because at the minute Casper is sitting pretty at the minute in 3rd place, just sitting in the DRS of Court and Machine Island up the road, and it's just protecting him a little bit from Wet Lemons. But Wet Lemons has recovered a little bit on this lap. He's got that gap now down to 4 tenths of a second, make that 2 tenths of a second. He's right on the tail of the Ferrari, and he probably knows this is it. He has to make the move now or never, because he is running out of opportunities here. He's very close once again, but you're not going to be close enough to make a lunge down the inside. We've got a yellow flag in the middle sector. I think that was a little slide for the Sauber of Magic Poop Cannon, but Casper then just probably needs to negotiate this start-finish straight, and he's got a bit of a bad exit there, and Wet Lemons will be on his tail. Coming down the start-finish straight, we have a move up the road for the lead, but that is not going to be for the win in this one, and Casper does hang on for the moment, although he has a look up the inside of Machine Island. You don't want to do that, as Jubal Manny now gets ahead of Arthur, although he has a penalty, so he will also move down the order, as Dom Smith now is up into 8th, as there's a 4-way squabble for P8 there. But Casper, at the minute, Ewan, is doing all he needs to do.
Yep, and here comes Wet Lemons once again on the mediums, looks for the move down at that unorthodox corner. But yeah, the DRS from Machine Island for Casper has really affected Wet Lemons' chances of attacking Casper. The DRS train has made it so difficult, even with those better tyres. It's so difficult for Wet Lemons to make a move, and it looks like Casper is going to hold on. But does Wet Lemons have anything left? I don't think there is. So looks like Casper in the Ferrari is looking pretty good here.
Well, looks like he has survived. It should be fairly straightforward from here on in. It is probably going to be Court that will cross the line to win this one, but after penalties, it looks like it's going to be Casper back to his best. The champion last season will take the win here in Zandvoort. What a win for Casper. He probably didn't expect that before this one, but those making mistakes and receiving penalties ahead of him has handed him victory in the end, ahead of Wet Lemons in second place. A great drive from him, being on arguably an unfavourable strategy. Arthur is on the podium. I did not expect to see that, with the greatest of respect to him. And Dan Morris is in fourth. What a race that was, Ewan. We didn't have overtakes kind of every single lap, but it was a bit of a nail-biting finish there.
Yeah, exactly. Tricky to overtake tracks sometimes produce the best, because you have to go for some ballsy moves, and we certainly saw lots of them here in Zandvoort. And yeah, it was a brilliant race. And I'll tell you what, it was a bad race for Red Bull, who are currently leading the constructors. P11, P10 and P12 for the constructors leaders at the moment. So yeah, a bad day for them, and a great day for Arthur and Wet Lemons and Casper.
What a drive from Casper. He is on the top step of the podium then, and he is obviously joined by Wet Lemons and Arthur there. And well, both of those two, Wet Lemons and Arthur, did not have any great result to note of in the first week. And this time around, and even Casper, he didn't even get a podium. Never mind a win in the first two races, but he's back tonight in Zandvoort with the victory and the fastest lap after starting 6th place. And that just tells you all you need to know. That all the top three in the end, none of them started on the front row. And Arthur from 10th to 3rd. What a drive from him. It was indeed Dan Morris in 4th place, Dom Smith in 5th, with then Alistair Bain in 7th, Court then dropping down to 7th with Chiapelli in 8th. And the rest of Europe, you would have seen it in the end there. But what a race it was. And next up, we've got the British Grand Prix, which I tell you, if that's what it's like around Zandvoort, a circuit that's quite tricky to overtake on, Ewan, we've got plenty more action to come, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to it. The home of racing up next, and I think it's the best track for racing. So, yeah, the racing was great at Netherlands, very clean. So I expect no less at Silverstone. It's going to be a good one. Lots of famous corners, the likes of Kops, the likes of Stowe. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And let's see if Court can bounce back after the disappointment of the 10-second penalty.
Yeah, let's talk about actually what happened there with Court. I mean, obviously starting on pole was going along very nicely in that race, but did have a lot of pressure put on him in the end, kind of during that middle part of the race, and then critically that penalty coming in the pit lane just ruined any opportunity he had. What do you put that down to? Was that the pressure from Wet Lemons that just caused that, or is that just an easy mistake to make at that kind of circuit?
Yeah, it's tough, as we saw with so many 10-second penalties from lots of the drivers. It is a very tricky track to get it stopped. But to be honest, that's no excuse. You need to be stopping for the pit line, and yeah, you need to be wary of that. So yeah, he's going to be looking to bounce back after that. He was under pressure, and he was in the race lead. It was quite a frantic stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he makes the same mistake at Silverstone, but I suspect that he's going to take it very cautious into the pit lane next time.
Well, this is the thing, and Silverstone, is actually a very slow pit lane as well. Some people saying in the chat they were caught out with the speedo for the kind of Dutch pit lane there, but obviously we have a similar thing at Silverstone because it's such a long pit lane. It is a very slow entry, which we have seen plenty of mistakes happen there before. But But yes, Machine Island and Giovanni not with the greatest of results there, so a bit of points dropped, but we are early in the season, so there's plenty of opportunity still up for grabs. But Wet Lemons, who was 6th in the standings, obviously getting a podium there. Arthur, 9th in the standings, getting a podium, and obviously Casper will have took the championship lead at the moment, but plenty could happen here at Silverstone. We're probably expecting our usual mixed conditions as we almost get used to with us both being British, Ewan. And what are we saying? Are we thinking this is going to be a wet race, or are we going for a dry? I mean, that's kind of take your pick, really, with dynamic weather. You never know what it could come up with. What would you prefer? If you were racing, would you rather a dry British GP or a bit of mixed conditions?
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, personally preference, I actually like a bit of rain. I like the low grip conditions, but I also like a bit of dry, so I'd like a bit of a mixed race, in my personal opinion, and I think it'd make for a good race as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the weather gods deliver, but even if they don't, we saw in Zandvoort with just a sunny, dry race, it was an absolute banger. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, we are loading into the qualifying session now for round 4 of this season, and it just gives us a chance to catch our breath once more, because we obviously did just dive straight into that at the end of qualifying and then straight into the race, and with the kind of race that was, I'll be honest, Ewan, I barely had a chance to catch breath throughout that one, but obviously we have the opportunity to do that now in this qualifying session, so we will see what the conditions are going to be like. It's actually a one-shot quali, I have just noticed there, so that has caught me out as well, just for good measure. So there isn't going to be much of a moment to catch our breath, Ewan, because one-shot qualifying, I mean, that really does throw up some surprises sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I've just seen that as well, and it's going to be very interesting. One-shot qualifying is pretty pressurizing. You really need to set the lap time. You can't invalidate. If not, you'll be right at the back without any other time to set. You've got one lap to make, and one lap only. So if you get it wrong, then you see yourself right down the field. So it's absolutely crucial. But it looks pretty overcast but dry. Casual weather for Britain.
Yes.
So yeah, let's see what happens in this one-shot quali.
Yes, this seems very familiar conditions to us Brits, but it's good to see it's dry, particularly for qualifying, and we'll probably stick with Casper for this one-shot quali here. It's not well, I would say it's fairly easy not to invalidate at this circuit, Ewan. Would you agree with that? I mean, compared to others, it's probably a little bit nicer for stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. It is a little bit easier as they go into turn 1, but yeah, it's one of the easier tracks to not invalidate. You can push pretty hard around here, and yeah, it looks like caught P1 at the moment, but it's always going to fluctuate around in one-shot quali. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
Well, that is the thing, Ewan. It's going to change a lot, and at the minute, Casper is down in 15th place at the end of this first sector, but he's got plenty of time to recover himself, and you can just see there, through one corner, already up into 5th place in that leaderboard on your left-hand side of the screen there. But yes, Court still leads the way, made that Machine Island now, but Casper then coming down the old start-finish straight towards Cops. How much risk does he apply to this one? Absolutely foot to the floor, risking all the way up to that white line, although with these current generation of the cars, it's a hell of a lot easier than it used to be. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go then, and it looks fairly neat and tidy from Casper there. A little bit of a swapper though through the exit of that one, as Jean has retired from the session. He's up into 2nd place though with a great middle sector. Then it's only a few corners to go as we go into the final sector. It's a scrap here between Machine Island and Casper. You can probably chuck Court into the mix of that as well. As the Bane now is out of the session. We've only got a couple of corners to go then. Casper very nicely clips the curb there. Oh, and he absolutely lights it up though on the exit, and that will be that lap in the bin, and it's Machine Island on pole position for the British GP. Casper in the end down in P9, and plenty of work ahead of him for this race, Ewan.
Yep, winner of Zandvoort and down into 9th with that mistake in Club Corner. So yeah, that was a tough one. It was looking pretty neat and tidy. A little swapper at Maggots and Beckett's. But yeah, that last corner really cost him a lot, and he's down into P9, which is pretty huge, a huge margin. And Machine Island takes a brilliant pole position, 3 tenths to the next car of Jovial Manatee, and it's an Island 1-2.
I was just going to say, we have an Irish front row. We've actually got 3 Irish drivers in the top 4. And Arthur, once again, pulling a lap out of the bag there, up in 3rd place. But Machine Island then will lead us away for the 4th round of the season. And it's going to be interesting to see, Ewan, how this one plays out. We have drying conditions for the race. Yeah, this is almost a rare sight, seeing the sun for the British GP, but we have got a dry race in store. How critical is the start of this one, Ewan, or is it more not that kind of circuit? It's going to be more of a tactical play.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. The start is always very important at every track. But yeah, I think it's less important than Zandvoort because there's much more opportunities to make overtakes. So yeah, but it's still going to be a cracking start. Silverstone is one of the best places to have a good start, a good battle. We saw Hamilton Verstappen in 2021. It was going so well until Copse, and then the crash happened. But yeah, good fighting can happen.
Yeah, let's hope we don't have the end result of that one. We've got 5 red lights then ahead of the drivers here for the British GP, and we are underway. Machine Island then gets us going, and he has had a good start there ahead of Jovial Manatee. He takes the lead ahead of the RB then, although Jovial Manatee is still hanging on. Look at Arthur there. He's almost taken the lead here. You know what? He has. He's took the lead into the second corner there. What a start from AFCB Arthur. What a launch there from the Haas driver from absolutely nowhere. Do not scratch your eyes. Arthur leads the way. We've got a tangle at the back. There's a Ferrari in the mix of that, and Wet Lemons actually is the car that's spun in the background. But Machine Island then down into 2nd place. Dan Morris in 3rd. Jovial Manatee now down into 4th, caught, putting the pressure on him. But what an incredible start there from Arthur, leading on the first lap of his home GP. And I did not expect to see that, Ewan.
Exactly, and that was a beautiful overtake. What a move, and what a time to do it at his home Grand Prix. P1 for Arthur, got a podium in Zandvoort, and he's carrying that momentum into this race, and it's looking good for him. But Machine Island looks like he had the pace.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a moment there, Arthur, and here comes Machine Island. Then he is on the medium tyres. That is something to just factor in with the start of that one. That he is on those mediums. We've got another tangle at the back. That is the Sauber, and there is a move though in the background. That's caught then up into 3rd, swooping around the outside there, and making a clean pass. Machine Island then wasn't quite close to Arthur. I'm not too sure what's going on there. We've got all sorts of position changes. I think it's the McLaren of Phil Bargewell ghosting there. We're almost 3 wide there, coming down the start-finish straight. Incredible racing earlier on in this one, and Dan Morris there getting caught out as well. Casper back up into P7, and they are continuing wheel to wheel. The Ferrari almost getting pushed off the circuit, but there's battles left, right and centre as we expected, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. This is a proper scrap and a proper track to have a scrap. What a layout for the racing around this track with these cars. It's always going to be brilliant around the home of racing. So yeah, Arthur still holding that position, shockingly, and I suspect that he won't want to give up that position too lightly. So let's see what happens. And Phil gets up to P5 in the McLaren. P5 and P6, they've suddenly turned up for the Papaya team, and Casper right behind.
McLaren have rocked up indeed here for the British GP, and Machine Island then will have DRS this time around. I think this lead is not going to last much longer for Arthur, because there goes Machine Island into the lead then on lap 2. And you could see Court in the background earlier on there was really starting to put the pressure on. There is Casper though, hanging around the outside of the McLaren of Aiden, and now we'll have the inside line into this corner, and that is a change for the lead. Yeah, Arthur coming back at Machine Island then, just not able to get ahead of the Irishman, but he is still right on the tail of that Red Bull, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. Arthur tried to do it at Club, and he doesn't want to give it up easy. He's going to try to go round the outside, force Machine Island into a mistake. He can't make it move, and what's happened?
Well, that was the Mercedes of Core there, getting a little bit too hot and bothered going into that second corner there, almost collecting Arthur, but Arthur is going to come back at Machine Island here with a DRS on the Red Bull, has a little look to the outside, but has to just settle for that second place at the moment. But yes, Court almost collecting the pair of them there. And we've got another spin at the back. That's Chiapelli, unfortunately for him. But there goes Casper once again, finally getting ahead of Aiden. But what a race we've got in store here, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. The top 5 all in DRS and around a track like Silverstone. It can happen, and we're going to go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. Arthur just backs out at the last moment, but Arthur isn't scared to go side by side anywhere, and he's looking very good here with the DRS. Let's see if he's going to go for the move down into Stowe. He's going to go for it. He's going to gaining. It's 3 wide. Court takes the lead. Arthur goes around the outside. They're still side by side here. Arthur has the inside line. Court has the outside. Court holds it round the outside. Arthur has the outside now, and Court takes the lead.
And there goes Machine Island now on Arthur. He's just clips a curb though on the inside, and will have to just settle for third. But what racing for the win here of this race. We're already in the early stages, but we have had so many changes for the lead here. But Arthur just losing that out to Court. What a move it was from Court, as Phil Bargewell now moves up into 4th place just behind this trio. But we will go at it once again then with Arthur on the DRS. But there is Machine Island Rubber hiding. He's right on the tail of Arthur. You've got Phil Bargewell right behind these two as well. So just as someone tries to make the move here, Ewan, they're almost coming under attack right behind them as well.
Yeah, this is absolute carnage as Phil tries to sneak it down the inside at Luffield. Can't make it stick. Machine Island on those mediums are really feeling the pressure, as Phil in the McLaren is doing very well so far in this race. But yeah, this is an almighty scrap, and I expect it to keep on going as Machine Island in P3 on those mediums, and he looks to have the pace, but he just seems to lose it in the DRS as we go onto the DRS straight once again, and this could be 3 wide once again.
Well, here comes Arthur then with that DRS on the Mercedes of Court, and Mercedes going very defensive there, but Arthur goes to the inside. They make a bit of contact at the end of the hangar straight there, and Arthur is still unable to get back ahead of Court. He has a little look once more down the inside. He'll offset himself though for this next corner. You can see Machine Island is all over the tail of the Haas there. We've had another spin in the background. That is Aiden that has gone round, but Arthur still unable to retake the lead as Court is doing a great job here, Ewan, of just managing to hang on.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, defending well as Phil tries to go round the outside at Village and goes down the inside once again. Let's see if he can hold that and make that stick. He's still alongside Machine Island. Machine Island keeps the position, holds the position, and it looks like Arthur looks to go for the move as well, but he doesn't.
No, he gets very close, but just thinks better of it, and I think that's the right thing to do. Down that Wellington straight there, it's not quite the optimal overtaking point, and Dan Morris, I think, has had a little moment behind. He's dropped now all the way down to 10th place. Make that 11th, so something has gone on there with the Aston Martin driver, as Lewis Craig now has moved ahead of Dom Smith for P6, but as expected, we are keeping all eyes on the front here. We have an almighty squabble here for the win of this British GP, and Arthur once more will have DRS then down the hangar straight. And can he come back at Court here? Court doing all he can to hang on, but there goes the Haas. A late move to the inside once more. These two getting very close down that straight, but Arthur still unable to get ahead of Court, and will have to defend now from Machine Island, having a look to the outside, but still can't find a way past Ewan.
Yeah, Arthur's doing well, but he's not going for the move on Court just yet, and Machine Island might get a little bit impatient with Arthur's plays at the moment, and Arthur is looking pretty quick on those mediums now. They seem to be working, and he's going to try to go around the outside. Arthur pulls a defensive move, and that is enough to put Machine Island off of the move, as Phil almost goes into back of Machine Island, and that could have been bad, and Machine Island is probably lucky to be still in this fight as he tries to go around the outside of Arthur.
Well, that might just be the wake-up call for Machine Island to try and get ahead of Arthur here and put an end to this surprise order in the top 5 at the minute. But Phil Bargewell getting a little bit too punchy there on the brakes, just tapping the Red Bull's rear tyre, and they're both lucky to maybe get away with that one. Machine Island then is so close once again, going into Cops, but he is unable to make the pass, as Arthur will surely have picked up a warning there, going a bit wide over that curb, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly, and down the hanger straight once again, we enter the hanger straight, and down to Stowe. This could be cinema, as Arthur will look to make the position, as Machine Island also will want to make the position, but here comes Arthur.
There is the late lunge. Oh, and they almost make contact again. And Arthur still can get past Court here. He's going to open the door for Machine Island to have a look down the inside. They make contact. Arthur just shuts the door on the Red Bull, and thankfully for Machine Island's case, he's able to continue on without spinning there. But these, well, you have to say the top five, they are all absolutely leaving nothing on the table here with their defensive driving and their overtaking as well. They are absolutely giving not an inch to each other here on lap 7 of 18. We're not even halfway through this one yet, and there's been so much that has happened already. But Machine Island and Gilverman, they should start to come into play now with these medium tyres. And he is gaining once more on Arthur. He's got Phil Bargewell, though, right on his tail, right behind him. And they are still remarkably in the same order, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. Arthur is looking very racy, and he's looking to defend his position. Very hard racing, but I'd say just about fair so far in this race, as Arthur is in the best ideal position in that P2. He's got a DRS, so he's not attacked from behind, or he's not vulnerable from behind, and he has the position to decide when to go for the move on Court Jill. He's tried a few times, but not just yet. But let's see if this time down the hanger straight he has enough speed, overspeed, to make the move.
I tell you, that Court had a bit of a moment through Cops. He might just get away with it at the minute, because Arthur is gaining and gaining on the Mercedes, and he is still unable to get close enough. Although he's got a good exit there, he might just have a little lunge down the outside if he's down the inside. Sorry, if he's feeling brave enough. No, thinks better of it. But Court, I would have to say, is starting to struggle a little bit on those soft tyres, as he still leads the way. But Arthur is that bit closer on lap 8 here. And Machine Island is still right on his tail as well, just ready to pick up the pieces. And he's having a little look to the outside this time around, actually. Arthur maybe having to get a little bit defensive. And there he goes to the inside, actually, Arthur. Oh, almost collecting Court. And there is Phil Bargewell at the inside. What an opportunistic move that is on Machine Island from absolutely nowhere. These three almost free abreast then down the Wellington straight here. Phil Bargewell, can he have a little look at the inside? No, he can't. He's going to get picked off by Machine Island if he's not careful here, but he has a good exit out of that corner and will maintain that P3. But what a move that was from Phil there, Ewan.
Yeah, of course, Machine Island is really struggling to deal with this pack and deal with this overtaking as he re-overtakes Phil. Machine Island really needs to just get on with it. I think he's just leaving the drivers too much margin, and these drivers won't give in for the race lead. They're going all out, full flat out for the race lead, as Arthur once again gets a chance to go for the lead. He's going to go for it down into Stowe.
Well, here he comes, and he is going to take the lead this time around. He was close enough on Court and retakes the lead then of this British GP. And that time around, Court couldn't do anything about it. I was saying he was looking a little bit closer, and Arthur then does take the lead then as we go on to lap 9. And he's very much in the mix here for the win, dare I say it. I mean, it's remarkable, you have to say, where this pace has come from Arthur, although Court getting a little bit close to the Haas there, and having a little think about it, although he's got to be very careful because Machine Island's having a look around the outside, and you can't rule out Phil just there again trying to pick up an opportunity. But here comes Machine Island then, and Arthur is in real trouble here. Look at this, down the Wellington straight. They are all over the Haas, but Arthur is just about going to hang on here, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be interesting to see who will bite first into the pit box, because now's the time to go for the pit stop. 9 laps in so far, and still no pit stops in the top 5 as Phil gets a 3-second penalty for corner cutting. So that's maybe his podium hopes over. But yeah, let's see who goes into the box with all this scrapping. Let's see who bites the bullet for an undercut.
Well, that's the thing. The pit stops will surely not be far away. But yes, that penalty for Phil will prove costly. And he's had a bit of a moment there. And Joe Manatee will be right on his tail. But I think Court is going to make the move here on Arthur. He's thinking about it. He's going to have a look to the outside. No, thinks better of it. Maybe just charges the battery up that time around. Do they come in the pits? Yes, they do. That is 3 of them in the pit lane then of Arthur, Court and Phil Bargewell. Phil having a little look there, trying to make the pass on Court coming in the pit lane, but it will be Machine Island then that now takes the lead ahead of Jovial Manatee in P2, and there's a bit of a gap to Bavesio behind as quite a few drivers now decide to dive in the pit lane, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. Court being very mindful on the pit entry, remembering what happened last time out at Zandvoort, so getting in very safely. Phil almost getting down the inside on the pit entry, so that was pretty close. But yeah, the first pit stops or for the leaders happen, and Arthur is still ahead, and he's got almost a 1 second gap to Court Jill, and Casper has gotten ahead. They're side by side.
He has, you know, and Casper pitting early on the onto the mediums has really made up some ground there, and you have to say, if he didn't have a penalty, he'd be right in the mix for the win here. But then just picking off Phil Bargewell now, and that's going to be frustrating for Phil, won't it, Ewan, because he's now just lost a bit of ground to Court and Arthur, and I mean he could still make the pass on Casper, but that's an unnecessary inconvenience for him there.
Yeah, exactly. Just being a little bit lower in the pack isn't helping his chances. And being behind Casper is going to hurt him. If Casper gets out of that DRS, it's going to be ultra difficult to get back in that DRS of the leaders. But let's see what Phil can do. It looks like Casper has pretty decent pace, so there's no doubt Phil will be able to stay in this train.
Well, the top 2, make that the top 3, are all in the pit lane then. So we'll see who can come out on top in this one. Phil still unable to get ahead of Casper there. Casper being a bit of a nuisance, although you can say he is really fighting for track position there despite being on the older tyres, as Arthur slides his way at the final corner there, and it's going to be absolutely neck and neck between Machine Island, who is now coming out the pit lane. There he is, and there is Jovial Manatee. And they have dropped positions here. Arthur then will continue in the lead of this one as Wet Lemon sets the fastest lap of the race. But critically, Ewan, Machine Island now is on the soft tyres.
Yeah, exactly, and he will be absolutely rapid out the blocks here in Silverstone. The first few laps will be brilliant for him as Arthur does some weaving down the straight to try and get Court out of his toe, but Arthur's still looking good. But Machine Island on those softs, on the alternate strategy, is looking good, and he's going to look to make a move down the copse.
Well, he's going to definitely be punchy on these early laps because he absolutely has to make the most of these soft tyres. You can see Casper, Court there having an almighty moment through Copse, and he is going to lose this position there, wheel to wheel from Angus and Beckett, but Machine Island does get the job done on the Mercedes there and sets his sights now on Arthur. Arthur knows he's in big trouble here because Machine Island is rapid on those fresh set of soft tyres. He's going to go to the outside on the race leader and will try and swoop right around the outside of Arthur. What a move that is. That is a sensational overtake there from Machine Island. That is the best kind of overtaking you will see right around the outside. Yes, he has the tyre advantage, but that is as clean as you like, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. What a move at Stowe, all the way around the outside. He had the grip, he had the DRS, and it was enough for him to make the move, and that could be a crucial one for the context of this race. If Machine Island can get out of that DRS, it doesn't seem like he is going to, as Phil and Casper are having a bit of a scrap with Phil getting ahead. But yeah, Arthur really needs to stay in that DRS, if not it might be game over.
Yes, Phil now finally clearing Casper. Those two on the same amount of penalties, so that will be pole position, although they're going to have to worry about Jovial Manatee without the penalties just behind us. Lewis Craig gets ahead of Dom Smith there for P7. Dom Smith going back down the inside, though, will maintain that P7. You can see Jean there trying to get in the mix as well, so a good old tussle here for P7. I'll go back to the front very shortly because you can see on the map there is an almighty tussle. That's a six-way fight there for the potential win here. But it looks like Dom Smith is going to maintain that P7. Arthur then, can he come back at Ewan? At Machine Island, sorry, Ewan. That is the big question here. Can those mediums hang on with those softs?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, of course. I think at a track like Zandvoort, it would be tougher as Casper and Jovial go round the outside, go side by side, and Jovial makes a move up to P5. But yeah, it's going to be tough for Arthur to stay in that DRS. But at a track like Silverstone, there's so many straights, there's so many chances of slipstream, that I think it's going to be tough for Machine Island to get out of that DRS range. And so if Arthur can keep in that DRS, then by the end of the race, Machine Island's tyres may be going off, and he'll have chances to make overtakes. But of course, Machine Island needs to build a gap now as big as he can to be able to use as much at the end of the race.
Well, this is the thing. Machine Island's tyres will be good now, but they won't be in a few laps' time. The mediums will come back into the mix here. And the question is can these guys on the mediums just keep with Machine Island here to set us up for a grandstand finish to this TGP British Grand Prix? Let us know your thoughts on the race so far if you are tuning in. And, well, who is going to win this one? Let us know in the chat. What is your podium looking like at the minute? Because I tell you, it could be any of the top six, even with the penalties at play at the moment. Arthur then still has the DRS on Machine Island. And you have to say, the Red Bull man is not able to break that DRS here, Ewan. I mean, it's quite hard to do that at this particular circuit.
Yeah, exactly, and I think Arthur has that taste of victory in his mouth. He sent it down round the outside in lap 1 and got to the lead, and from there he's been right up the field and looking for that race win. So yeah, he's going to be ultra desperate to see himself on the top step of the podium, but it's going to be tough competition against Machine Island and Court, putting him under pressure behind as Phil is broken the DRS from the top 3, so it's only a 3-way battle now.
Yeah, scrap the whole idea of a 6-way fight for the win here. This is absolutely a 3-way fight in these closing stages, because Arthur is gaining on Machine Island. There is Joe Humanity, finally able to clear Phil Bargewell, so don't rule him out. He is on the soft tyres, and we saw many times last season he was the master of picking up a win or a podium from absolutely nowhere and being very opportunistic at the end of races. But Machine Island then on lap 14 of 18 still leads the way ahead of Arthur and Court. And I think this is going to be a bit of another nail-biting finish here, Ewan, because I've got absolutely no idea which one this is going to go, and I'm still in shock that Arthur is in the contention here for race victory. And I say once more, and that is no disrespect to Arthur, but this would be quite something. And there he is, he's making a move up the inside. He risks it on the inside then, and Machine Island just unable to make the overtake and has to just settle himself down. But that kind of was a bit of a late lunge there. He risked a lot there, because if Machine Island was a bit more aggressive with his turning, then that could have been ended in tears for the Haas driver there.
Yeah, exactly, and it looks like Machine Island has surrendered the attempt of trying to get out of that DRS. So it looks like Arthur is able to just sit in there, and that's advantage Arthur, in my opinion, for the last 3 laps, because Machine Island's tyres, the softs, not a good tyre in this game for degradation in standings, as he tries to send it down the inside, just pulling off a surprise every now and then, just getting in the wing mirrors off Machine Island, and he's doing a good job at it.
Well, he had a little think about it. I think that was incredibly ambitious to try a late lunge like that on a driver of experience that Machine Island has. He will not fall for that one, but Arthur is trying everything he can to get ahead of the Irishman at the minute, and Court in the background is in a nice old position there, and he's got a great run then at Arthur, going onto the hanger straight here, and he will have a little go at the Haas driver. They are both gaining on Machine Island here, and there is Court. He might just have a look for the lead here. He's going down the inside on Machine Island. He can't quite get that one done, but he has got Arthur in the closing stages here, but Arthur will have a little lunge on the inside. He's coming back at Court here, down the inside. Can he get the job done? Not quite. Court defends off the Haas driver, and these two are going to be careful here, Ewan. They cannot lose DRS to Machine Island.
Yeah, exactly, but that's a great move from Court to get in that prime position for the last lap. P2 is a brilliant position to be in because, like I said earlier, you're not vulnerable, but here comes Arthur looking to make a move down the inside once again, but yeah, that might not be good enough for Arthur down into P3 now. His chances of a win are slowly fading here.
Well, I tell you right now, Machine Island will love to see that. Just gives him a little bit of breathing room, can maybe try and recharge the battery a tiny bit, but the gap is starting to close again. I'm not sure he's going to be able to break DRS, which, to be honest, is good for our viewing here, because we want this to go right down to the final lap here. We are on lap 16 of 18. There is not long to go, and Court now is the main threat to Machine Island here. Where do you think this is going to end up, Ewan? If there is such a way of predicting this one, can Machine Island hang on here, or is Court and Arthur potentially going to snatch this one?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think that move that Court did down the inside of Arthur, it was crucial. He's now in the best position, and Court, I feel like, has great pace. He's got a good DRS share, and with Machine Island on those on those soft compound tyres, which we'll be wearing by this point, it's looking good for Court at the moment. But anything can happen on a track here like Silverstone.
I'm telling you, don't rule out Giovanni here. He is back in the DRS of these lot at the very front, and if something goes on here, he will be right there. You can bet your bottom dollar he'll be right there to pick up the pieces. Machine Island then on the penultimate lap still leads this race and is still hanging on, trying to execute a pole to victory. It's not quite been that straightforward though, and Court is still right there in the DRS, but he is not gaining too much down that straight as Arthur has another little look up the inside. He's still unable to make the move, but Machine Island, you have to say, Ewan, it looks like his tyres are struggling there.
Yeah, and it's going to be very tough for him to hold on to his P1 and his win. Of course, took pole, but it's not looking good on those softs. He wasn't able to break that DRS, and I think it's not going to go well for him as Arthur right behind Court. This is a almighty battle as we go onto Stowe, or onto the hangar straight with the DRS. Here comes Arthur.
There is Arthur. They might be free wide here. They might be, because here comes Court as well. They're free wide at the end of this straight. Court then takes the lead. Machine Island is still trying to hang on around the outside, and he is still in the lead of this one. And there goes Arthur down the inside. His patience has worn thin. He chucks it down the inside on Court. There is wheel banging between the pair of them, and Arthur does indeed get that second place. There is Giovanni. He's going to pick up a P3 out of nowhere here, He's going to have the inside line on Court. Oh, and they do make contact. That's Arthur and Court touching tyres into the first corner. Phil Bargewell now is up into fourth, but it's all kicking off, and this is going to hand Machine Island surely the win from here, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly. He's managed it uber perfect, and he's 1.5 seconds up the road, and it's going to be an ultra battle for the last podium positions. Here comes Court down the inside. He makes a move, but Arthur won't want to give up that easily. He's going to try and be patient, but no, he won't. He's going to go down the inside at Luffield, but he can't make the move stick, and this is going to go all the way down to Copse, and then after Maggers and Beckett's we have the hangar straight, where we've seen all the drama this evening.
Well, there's a cracking battle as well for P7 down the order, but unfortunately I can't look at that at the minute because it's all eyes to the front. It looks like Machine Island has survived the wave of attacks behind him in this one. He's not got long to go, and it looks like the patience of Arthur getting the better of him there, trying to just chuck it down the inside, has actually cost him the opportunity of a potential win here. He looks like he's going to have to just settle for P3. He's not going to be close enough to get ahead of Court. Court's a bit wide though through that corner. Arthur might just have a little lunge down into this corner. He thinks about it, but Machine Island masterfully is going to hang on here to take a brilliant win at Silverstone. What a result for Machine Island. He wins the TGP British Grand Prix ahead of Court, and Arthur once again getting a podium tonight. It could have been so much more for him, and it could have been so much more for Court as well, but they both had to settle for the podium spots. Giovanni gets a solid fourth place in the end. Casper in fifth on ancient medium tyres. Phil Bargewell is in sixth. A great drive from him as well, you have to say. Don Smith in seventh, Wet Lemons in eighth, Bavessia ninth, and John completing the top 10. What a race that was, Ewan. And I have to say that. I thought the Dutch GP was good, but that just absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, that was incredible. The home of racing delivers, and yeah, that was an absolute cracker. And yeah, and a masterclass from Machine Island on those tyres, which were a bit worse for wear at the end there, but it was able to hold on. Brilliant racecraft from the Red Bull driver, and yeah, a brilliant win from him, and another podium for Arthur. So a good job for him, and yeah, Red Bull once again a win. A bit of a off day in Zandvoort, but return to Silverstone and return with a win.
Well, I tell you, when Jack returns back to the commentary box, he will not believe the fact that Arthur almost won the British GP here in TGP. But it is normal service resuming this season. It is Machine Island who picks up his second victory of this season so far. And what a victory that was. That's probably one of the sweetest wins he will take in his time here in TGP, because he had to face off so many attacks there, Ewan. But he was able to stay composed, and when others behind lost their patience in the end there, the Irishman was able to hang on.
Yeah, exactly. It was a brilliant race and brilliantly managed. So yeah, what I expect around a track like Silverstone, and yeah, good first impression from this league, and a huge congrats to everyone up there on the podium and up there winning. So yeah, a good job to everyone, and very well done.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it seems like we have not got the results on my screen, which is a bit of a shame because of how good that race was. It almost needed us to go through all of what had happened there. But it is obviously Machine Island who wins once more and will retake the championship lead, I believe, in the end after all that. But I have to say, Ewan, there was action throughout that one, and I'm scratching my head to how Arthur suddenly tonight just had so much pace, particularly at that race there. I mean, what a start he had, but did that not just show the class that someone like Machine Island has, just to manage all of that chaos going on behind and just hang on for that victory, though?
Yeah, exactly. He used his experience, and yeah, I think he had very good pace today. And he used that pace and used that racecraft and delivered a brilliant win. And so yeah, he'll be very happy with that, and it's a good way to bounce back after the disappointment of Zandvoort, where he ended up much down the field.
Well, that is the thing. After watching that race, it's given us plenty to ponder for the races ahead. Next up, we do have Miami and Imola, I believe, if I'm correct in saying that one. Yes, it is indeed Miami and Imola next week. So be sure to tune in for that one, because if it's going to be anything like the usual races here in TGP, it's going to be action-packed throughout. I've been your commentator, CJH, joined by Ewan tonight. This might be the only time we do this, so I hope you've enjoyed this stream. A bit of a one-off, but we've both certainly enjoyed it. As a pleasure as always, Ewan. But we will be back potentially in the future, but we'll see you next week for round 5 and 6 in Miami and Imola. We'll see you then. And that's a wrap.
Nice.
God, my voice is literally hanging by a thread.
Yeah.